The sound of the prairies, Métis fiddle music. This is a program that will introduce you to Métis-style fiddle music played at its very best.
Hi folks, I'm Calvin Volrath. Welcome to our show on Métis fiddling. Now there's many different styles of fiddling. There's the Down East style, which some people call the Don Messer style. There's Texas style, there's Cajun, there's French Canadian, there's Scottish and Irish. And the Prairie West has developed its own style over the years, Métis fiddling. And Métis fiddling has its own sounds and its own rhythms, but it's for dancing like most other style is. Today we have John Arcand from Big River to play us some fiddle tunes and talk about the Métis style. And here's a tune that I'd like to play right now that I learned some 15 years ago back in Edmonton, playing at the Friendship Centers. Now, when you have these dances or the dance contests, there's dance groups and they dance a set called the 8-hand reel. And most of the places you go to today, they play the tune Whiskey Before Breakfast, which is known as a reel of 8. But you listen to some of the elders play, they play an old tune, and we call it the old reel of 8. So I'd like to play it for you here, and I hope you enjoy it.
This early sketching depicts a time when the Indian nations roamed freely throughout the Great Plains of North America. The buffalo was paramount to their existence. As hunters and gatherers, they lived a nomadic lifestyle. Settlements were established on a seasonal basis and were largely dependent upon the ranging habits of the buffalo herds. This nomadic lifestyle was to change with the coming of the Europeans. During the 1700s and 1800s, as the European way of life merged with Indian ways, a new and distinct group of people emerged. These people were coureurs de bois, explorers, employees of the Hudson Bay Company and their families, adventurers and fortune seekers. They soon became known as mixed bloods, or the Métis. The Métis settled along the waterways of Western Canada. The Red River, the Assiniboine, the mighty Saskatchewan, and the Churchill River system were the paths followed by these Scottish, English, French, and Indian people. This multicultural blend created many new customs and traditions. They set the patterns for the lifestyle of this new land.
We'd like to welcome John Arcand to the show right now.
Hi.
John, when was it you got started playing this old-time fiddle music?
Oh, I was about 5 or 6 years old.
And how did you get involved?
Well, I grew up with it. My grandfather and father both played.
I see. And you live in Big River now, but is that where your family is originally from?
No, 70 years ago, They moved to the Devon district, which is just on the outskirts of Big River.
And where did you move from? Where was the family?
Batoche.
Oh, the Batoche area. I see. When did you start playing for dances?
The old one-room schoolhouses.
Oh, and I bet you they were fun.
Well,
That was before my time. We were playing in two-room schoolhouses when I got started. John, you write a lot of good fiddle tunes, and it's always a real treat when we can get together and write some tunes up at Emma Lake every year. And I remember last year you wrote a tune on the way down to the gig at Christopher Lake at the Big Dipper Hall on Thursday night. You were in the back seat of your daughter's car, and you wrote a half a tune. And we got over to the hall, and you played that half a tune for me, and I got the other half of it, and we wrote this jig, and it's called the Big Dipper Jig. I hope you enjoy it.
The sound of the prairies, Métis fiddle music as it has been played for generations. These festive sounds are heard at weddings, at dances, at winter carnivals, and at other community celebrations. Métis fiddlers play a different, exciting style that reflects the tune structures of the traditional songs of the Ojibwe and Plains Cree Indians. It is this blend of Indian, Scottish, and European music that makes songs like Whiskey Before Breakfast a Métis classic.
Now we want to show you the difference between a down east or a down messer tune as opposed to the Métis style. We're going to play the same tune. The tune is a cuckoo's nest. I'm going to play it the down messer way or the down east way in the key of D, and then we're going to get John to play it the Métis style after this. So pay attention.
The down east style is very smooth with steady phrasing and strong bowing. It really flows along. If you listen carefully, you can hear the two parts of the tune. Each part is 8 bars long and is played twice. The parts of a typical fiddle tune are often described as AA, BB. Calvin is just finishing the B part and starting the tune again. You have to train your ears to hear it.
And now we're going to get John to play it the Métis style, and the difference being it won't be in the key of D, It's over in the key of G, and it'll be the same melody, but he'll put in a few different twists and bow hesitations, and, well, you'll just hear the different rhythm that he'll play. It'll still be in 2/4. John will get you to kick it off, and I'll join in with you in a little bit here.
On John's playing, you can hear a different phrasing. The phrases, or short sets of notes, are like the words in the story of each tune. You might say that John's playing has a Métis accent. Short pauses, or hesitations at the end of the phrases, make this cuckoo's nest bounce. John uses just a small part of the bow to stroke the strings. This light touch, typical of the Métis style of fiddling, adds to the whole feel of the music. The toe-tapping rhythms of the fiddle are often accompanied by acoustic, electric, or bass guitars. Traditionally, each Métis community had their own champion fiddler. They were often well respected and revered by others. Some fiddlers could make a sizable income through the donations that they received for their performances. When performing abroad, these fiddlers were proud ambassadors of their community. No better example of Métis culture can be found than at the Métis Heritage Days at Batoche, Saskatchewan. People from across Western Canada and the United States come together each year to celebrate their unique place in the history of North America. Music and dance play a major role. The Red River Jig had its origins near the settlement of Fort Garry, now part of the city of Winnipeg. It is said that Métis fiddlers heard the Scottish bagpipes from their camps on the banks of the Red River across from the fort. These musicians combined those rhythms with the great simple jig from Quebec. Soon, a distinctively different sound was created. The Red River Jig was the result. Traditionally, this new music was played as a challenge dance. As the fiddlers played, the dancers took their positions in a circle and started to jig. For the first part of the dance, a basic jig step was followed by all. As the music changed, each dancer would take their turn and perform a new step. The challenge was on. Each dancer would now try to outdance the previous jigger. The dancer who displayed the most vigor and variety of jig steps won the challenge.
Joy Aubuchon and Tim Laframboise are here to show us some jigging. In the first part of the tune, each person dances the same step. And in the second part of the tune, the dancers do different steps called changes. Tim and Joy will do 5 changes. John's going to play the fiddle, so take it away.
On the first part of the tune, the dancers do a circle jig, getting ready for their steps, also called changes. The changes are done during the second part of the Red River Jig. Here, they are dancing their first change. You can tell when the second part starts because it is lower in pitch. In competition, the winner may be judged on style and ability or on the number of changes they can dance. There are a number of set steps or changes which most jiggers know. This one is called the heel-to-toe step. Some dancers say that new dances come to them in dreams. However they learn their changes, they are never boring to watch, just as the Red River Jig is never a boring tune to listen to.
Oof, that was just great. John, how many changes have you seen done at one time?
I've seen my uncle do 52 changes.
He must have been some tired.
Well, you betcha.
We're to the part of the show here where we can give you fiddle players a tip. And if you're at a fiddle contest and you got that nervous type of sweat, and when you're trying to play and you find your hand is not sliding, or if you've just rosined up your bow and you found that you got some rosin on your fingers and you can't slide your hand on there, no time to go to the washroom and wash your hands. Just take your left hand, rub it through your hair, touch your scalp a little bit, rub it, come back to your fiddle and play, and you'll see it'll slide real good. Now John and I would like to play an old traditional fiddle tune, and I'm going to say a new traditional fiddle tune. The first one being the Big John MacNeil, and that's a Métis national anthem at all the old square dances that we play at. And but we're going to change it a little bit by just playing some harmony on it. And the second tune is going to be one that John and I wrote last year at the Emma Lake Fiddle Camp, and we named it John Gee Reel.
Most Métis fiddling tunes are suitable for dancing. The music structure and strong rhythm are the building blocks for square dancing and jigging. The distinct, percussive sounds of the fiddler's feet beating out the rhythms keeps everyone in time. They use one foot to mark all the beats. The other foot marks the accents. The sounds of the feet take the place of a guitar, a piano, or drums. The feet give the fiddler his own rhythm section. As you see, both Calvin and John use their feet to keep the rhythm of the tunes bouncing along.
Hey, now if you notice, this bow is made out of wood, and this is horsehair. and one of the hairs have just broke. So you're going to want to get it out of the way so it doesn't tickle your face as you're playing. But the thing to do is to bite it off, because if you just rip it off, it's glued in with glue on this end and glue on this end. So if you just rip it off, you're going to break the glue. And you don't want to do that, because then you're going to have a whole bunch of loose hairs. So what you got to do is bite it off. But now, like I said, it's horsehair, and it comes from the horse's tail, and you just kind of got to wonder what end of the horse's tail you're biting off here. You got to be very careful. Here's a tune I want to play for you right now. I wrote a couple of years ago called the Heritage Mountain Hornpipe, and the Métis people seem to like dancing to this one at the dances. So here goes. We'd like to thank everybody on the show. Our jiggers, Tim Laframboise and Joy Aubuchon. And, of course, our special guest, John Arcand. And we'd like to close the show today with one of John's original fiddle tunes called Grey Owl.